And the purpose of this meditation is just to help you understand how you communicate with your own inner self. Because within each person there's a tremendous wisdom and a tremendous knowingness, and there are tremendous resources to assist you in living your life. And that information is there, and all you really have to be able to do is to understand how to communicate with that inner part of yourself. So the purpose of this meditation is just to help you understand how that inner part can communicate with your outer part. So during the process, I'll be asking you some simple questions, and when that happens, I'd just like you to just take the first idea or answer or information that comes into your mind. There are no wrong answers, so the answers might seem silly or unusual or different, but just accept them and let them be there. So I'd like you to close your eyes. And just take a couple of really deep breaths. And allow yourself to relax. And if at any time during the meditation you feel the need to move around or stretch or change your position, that'll be fine. And I'd like you to imagine that you're at home. Just imagine you're at home and that you're in your living room. And imagine you're there in your living room, and I'd like you to be aware of each of the things that are there in your living room. And just take a moment to spend some time with each of the things that are there, and just take note of the size and shape and what it is and what it does. And then go on to the next thing. And just be aware of each of the things that are there. And as you do this, I'd like you to be aware or notice just how it is that you know about your living room. Do you have visual impressions of the things that are there? Do you see pictures of the things that are there? And if you do see pictures, are the pictures clear and sharp, or are they kind of vague, fuzzy? Do they kind of fade in and fade out? Or perhaps you simply have a knowingness about the things that are there. Perhaps you may not see them clearly, but you have a knowingness. You just simply know what's there and what it is, and what it does. Or are you having a dialogue with yourself? Are you sort of saying things like the couch is over there and it's kind of a brown color, and the rug is kind of an olive, and the drapes are sort of a beige color? Are you talking to yourself? Or is there a combination of ways of knowing? And I'd just like you to simply be aware of how it is that you know about your living room. Now, if you have a backyard, I'd like you to imagine that you're going out into the yard. If you don't have a backyard, just imagine you're going to a park or a field or an open place somewhere outside, somewhere that you're familiar with. And I'd like you to imagine that it's a very beautiful day. The sun is shining. There's a light breeze that's blowing. It just feels wonderful out there. And I'd like you to take a moment simply to be aware of your yard, to be aware of the park or open space, and just focus on each of the things that are there, and just notice what they are and their size and shape and color. And then go on to another thing there. And as you do this, just notice how it is that you know about your yard or the park or the open space. And right in the middle of the yard, I'd like you to imagine that there's a beautiful cloud of mist starting to form right in the middle of the yard. And as it forms, it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, so that you can't really see anything beyond the mists, but you are very much aware of the beautiful cloud of mist as it gently swirls around. And this is a very special sort of mist. This is actually a cloud of Reiki energy, a cloud of healing energy. And as you watch it gently swirling around, you may actually begin to feel certain soothing sensations within yourself. And as you look into the mists, you see something there. It's a Reiki symbol. It's the Reiki symbol that's exactly right for you to focus on at this time. And as you peer into the mist, you can see the Reiki symbol there, drawn out in light, radiant, with power and strength and healing. And I'd like you to imagine that you're actually moving forward and entering into the mists so that you can feel the Reiki mist swirling and flowing all around you. And there's the Reiki symbol before you, and you can sense and feel its power and strength. And I'd like you to imagine that you're actually stepping into the Reiki symbol, so that the symbol is now going through your physical body, and it's there inside you now, filling you with light and power and healing. And just imagine that the symbol is inside you now, and you're inside the radiant cloud of Reiki energy. And as you breathe into yourself, you actually breathe in some of the Reiki mists, and you can feel them and see them actually flowing through you and penetrating every cell and every organ of your body. And I'd like you to take a moment now simply to meditate with the Reiki symbol inside you, and the mists all around you and flowing through you, and just allow yourself to become empowered. Feel yourself becoming very grounded, very connected to the earth, very centered. And feel the strength and power of the Reiki building and developing within you, raising your vibration, lifting you up, expanding your consciousness. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're actually moving forward and coming out of the mists on the other side. And when you do this, you're going to be aware of something there that you've never really been aware of before. You're going to be aware of a path going off through beautiful green rolling hills all the way out to the horizon. So that as you come out of the mists, you'll be aware of a path going off through beautiful green rolling hills all the way out to the horizon. And you might have a visual impression of this path. That impression might be clear and vivid and sharp and distinct, or it might be kind of vague. It might kind of fade in and fade out. Or you may simply have a knowingness that the path is there. You might also have to kind of create the path in your mind. And any of these ways of knowing about the path are completely all right. And I'd like you to go ahead now and just imagine you're going through the mists, and just allow yourself to be aware of the path. And regardless of how you're aware of the path, simply accept the path does exist. It is there. And just over the horizon, there's a brilliant white light. There's a radiant white light shining up and shooting up over the horizon. And in a moment, your highest Reiki guide is going to come out of the light and be there, on the horizon, coming toward you very slowly out of the distance. And when this happens, I'm going to begin asking you a series of very simple questions about your guide. And all I'd like you to do is just take the first idea, or first answer, or inkling, or whatever comes into your mind. Now your highest Reiki guide is coming out of the light now. And your guide is there, on the horizon, coming toward you very slowly from out of the distance. And my first question, is your guide male or female? Male or female? Or perhaps your guide is androgynous, neither male nor female. But just allow this knowingness to come into your mind now. How long is the hair? What color is the hair? What kind of clothing does your guide have on? And what color is the clothing? Is your guide barefoot? Or is there something on the feet? Is there a belt or any jewelry, anything in the hands? Just allow your awareness of your highest Reiki guide to come into your mind now and develop and become clearer and clearer and clearer. And as you watch your guide coming toward you very slowly from out of the distance, just by watching how your guide moves, how your guide walks along, you'll start to know things about the character, about the qualities that your guide possesses. So in your mind now, just decide, what kind of guide is this? What qualities does your guide possess? And as your guide gets a little closer, you'll actually be able to ask questions with your mind and receive answers. And just take the first idea or inkling or impression, or whatever comes into your mind. And the first question I'd like you to ask your guide is, what name? What name does your guide want to be called? And just allow the name to come into your mind now. And there are a couple of benches alongside the path, and I'd like you to imagine that you're sitting on one bench, and just invite your Reiki guide to come over and sit near you or next to you. And as this happens, just be aware, how does this feel to be so close to your highest Reiki guide? And I'd like you to ask your guide if there's a gift. Has your Reiki guide brought you a gift, something important to give you? Just be aware of what happens, or how you feel, or what you experience. And now I'd like you to ask your Reiki guide if there's a message, is there something important that your guide has to tell you? And just allow the message to come into your mind now. And I'd like you to take a moment just to have a conversation with your highest Reiki guide. And you can ask any questions that you want and receive answers. But just take a moment now to have a conversation with your highest Reiki guide. Now, if it feels appropriate for you, I'd like you to imagine that you're actually embracing, you're hugging your highest Reiki guide. And if it feels appropriate, allow your heart to merge with your guide's heart, and even your entire being to merge completely with your highest Reiki guide, so that you know what your guide knows, and you feel what your guide feels. And as this happens, a bond is formed that's so strong that from now on, whenever you need guidance or healing or help of any kind, your highest Reiki guide will be there for you to assist you, to work with you. And as time goes by, you continue to work with your highest Reiki guide, that bond will become stronger and stronger and stronger. And all of these things will take place in a way that's very healthy and beneficial for you. And in a moment, we're going to return. And when you return, you'll have a perfect memory of everything you've experienced. And you'll easily write these things down in your notebooks. And as you write, additional wisdom, additional knowledge will automatically flow through you and be written into your notebook. And I'm going to count from 1 to 10. And as I'm counting, slowly you'll awaken, slowly you return, so that when I get to 10, your eyes will open and you'll be awake and alert. 1, 2, 3. Feel yourself awakening now. 4, 5. Awakening more and more. Returning completely to your physical body. Returning completely to present time. 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost completely awake. And 10. Slowly open your eyes and return to full waking consciousness. Fully awake, fully alert, and begin writing down your experiences in your notebooks.